I'll repair it later. I kind of love knockoff stuff, generic brand food, budget-friendly options of more popular brands, and to a certain extent, game clones. Especially the kind of clone game in which you can see the developer cared for the thing they were making. It's an interesting chance to play a love letter that builds on and potentially refines its source material. Now take all of that and throw it out the window, because this game has absolutely nothing to do with the supposed inspirations of its time. So let's dive in this adventure. Eventually, because the starting intro cinematic is 7 minutes and 16 seconds long, and the narration starts only 3 minutes in. Keep those ghastly hands off me. I had enough of getting assaulted by ghosts.
As time passes, each lifetime harvests the forces of good and evil inherent in human nature.
To make a long cutscene short, there is an evil wizard, Silver. He craves unlimited power, and he choked out his wife because she cheated with his nemesis. Nemesis. Great naming, guys. He looks like a Chaos champion from Warhammer Fantasy. Specifically, like the ones that get in your bedroom use powers. Poor thing probably had just begun the day before. I was half expecting for him to land on his feet. Nemesis gets nuked. All of this kind of matters, and no, we are not playing as Nemesis. That was a great interaction for a character who is going to appear only at the very end. And now we actually get into the main game. All the women are being taken away so that Silver can have a new wife. Obviously, the other men don't like this. By the way, the autofocus borders are not a post-editing effect. That's just how it looks. There are some in-game options to modify it, but ultimately it's either this, stretched, or upscaled. And they all look weird. This is the best of the bunch. Enter now the real protagonist, David. He wants to train with his grandpa, and strikes the most classical of anime pose. Although to be fair, it's more likely just bugged out.
Are you in such a hurry to be beaten, grandfather?
Yes. Unfortunately, I'm constantly disappointed. But at least my student has confidence.
Oof, grandpa got words. This is Jennifer, David's wife. Let's see. She loves him, fair looking, kind-hearted to a fault. You can see where this is going.
Brazil?
No. This is a safe area. Here the player can learn about the gameplay basics, talk to characters to get info, open chests to get loot, and get their food to recover health, the only way in the early game. And now for the basics of combat. This is among the weirdest combat system I have ever played. By pressing Ctrl and left dragging into a direction with the mouse, David executes a different attack. A basic one when clicking directly on an enemy, lunges by going up, sideswipes left or right, and a back attack to readjust for the foes behind. It's actually kind of cool once one gets used to it. Here it teaches dodging.
Without a shield, it is wise to move from the path of a lunging sword. If you can't counter the strike, dodge it.
But the dialogue is different if you have the shield equipped.
Your shield is invaluable when countering attacks. Use it well.
There is a tracker system to keep the enemies inside and minimize missed shots, but it's not very good at tracking enemies. Anyway, Fuge comes and takes away Jennifer.
I love you, David.
How touching. Women are far too weak.
Then the men who prey on them must be cowards.
Ah, yes, the eternal debate that still rages on. During the first fights, as long as you are with Grandpa, you are safe. This is pretty much an extension of the tutorial. You can be downed and so the other members of the group, but at the start, Grandpa can help you recover once he defeats all the enemies. The duo chase the kidnappers, but they are not fast enough. The ship has sailed. As it had done so many times. An old couple asks for help. They are distraught for the loss of their daughter.
You have to help us. We're old and...
People are obviously hungry, and are setting up a rebellion at Haven. The duo shall head there. In typical fashion of the games from this era, it's possible to save only in prefixed locations. In this case, where the Chronicle is present, not when the player may want. You can meet a fat trader, but don't buy anything from him. Save your money.
I'm a failure, and once again my children'll go hungry.
Listen to me. Don't buy food. Buy channel memberships so that I can keep... This channel is not even monetized. But still, seriously, don't. There are better ways to spend your money later on.
Then tonight, only 2 of me 6 children can eat.
When we last spoke, you had 8 children.
Yes, a sad tale, and one far too painful to repeat.
Heaven's Gates, built by an ancient race to keep evildoers away. So it's basically a giant fire lamp.
What if my hatred for Silver betrays me?
David, he's taken your wife. Your anger is justified.
Yeah, mate. Silver is a prick. It's the morally correct thing to do. Don't bother fighting the coming guards. They never stop and don't drop anything. Just run.
You! After them!
Should have checked the warranty for that thing. Huh, I guess it had the extended one. Ooh, the jeeps. You know, for being a game from 1999, it does its best to be gory as possible. If an enemy is killed with a critical strike, it gets jeeped. The sound is quite meaty. Can't go into the cave yet. This is the second smaller main gameplay loop of the game. Point and click adventure like mechanics with puzzles that need to be solved.
Place is too quiet. Did you hear that?
First it's too quiet, now it's noises that worry you. It's probably just a couple of larks, nothing to worry about.
Strange sounding larks. So I'm no authority on the call of that particular breed.
You jinx it. And they are surrounded. But they're not enemies. Enter the Duke, the leader of the rebellion. He wants to save the women.
Nobody steals our chicks and lives.
Unfortunately, they don't know where the ships have gone, but can discover it by using a telescope at the Library of No, the next destination. And of course they have to do it alone, because the rest has to organize. While the duo borrows a torch, let's quickly meet Sekune.
Is it too cold for you?
If my hands go numb, it may affect my aim, and you wouldn't want that, would you?
Keep it in your mind. And let's talk with the local NPCs. Besides information, it's possible to get the new melee abilities. The endgame one is an instant kill for all common enemies in the area. It's ludicrous.
Double kill.
Is Haven really as secure as it appears to be?
Come on, speak up. Has the cat got your tongue?
Wait! Although my father can hear you, he can't answer. When feud came for my mother, he had my father's tongue ripped out, a warning to others who protested so loudly.
I am a prick. Well, at the very least he should with his mouth shut. Back at the cave, using the torch, is an instant game over since the beast inside ate David and Grandpa whole. Turns out it's just a child with a horn. At the library, apparently it was once a school that taught magic, until Silver banned it. There are goblins? Or rather, imps. Okay? The door is locked. It won't open.
Let me try.
Fortunately for you, I must have stressed the lock when I forced the door myself.
There is an imp invasion. The duo must kill them all and save a professor. Complication. The telescope is unavailable. The imps must be stopped. The duo must find the demonologist Teronus. Only he can help. While the heroes clear the rest of the building, the professor shall go and look for help. I got an imp. That means treasure. Come here, relinquish your booty. I got a catapult? That's clearly a trebuchet. Well, butter my biscuit. Catapult is actually a synonym for slingshot in British English. Today I learned, I guess. In the library, one of the imps is friendly, or at the very least, not violent. I wonder what he says.
Your skills leave a lot to be desired. I have a book you should read. die, you catapult, you friend!
I defeated your playmates, didn't I?
You insult me! Those illiterate barbarians
Okay,
had
calm
nothing to do with
down.
me!
We should go. I get the distinct feeling we're not welcome.
You know, I actually think this game is not that bad looking. Sure, the characters look like the crunchiest models the 90s had to offer, but the background art is quite neat. It offers some sights to behold and effects I did not expect.
I should have been the one to fill your dark soul with light!
Another professor saved. Whittle, expert in mental gymnastics.
Professor Whittle, philosopher of life and ponderer of all unanswered questions, pleased to meet you.
By the way, you had to fight everyone. You can't run away until all enemies are dead. It becomes quite overwhelming in the final parts. Here is the golden kit. Cheater. Once reached, it tries to barter for his life.
Please spare me. I'll let you have free use of my treasure.
But it's a trap, of course. He drinks the potion, inflating himself into a giant. Glad they didn't drink it. First boss fight of the game. He is not hard. Stab him until death. Reach the demologist Tyrannus. He is defending himself against the imps. Unfortunately, our heroes cannot use the telescope yet. It is powered by the boiler. Its location in the caverns has been occupied by a demon. He must die. To aid them in their quest, Tyrannus gives David an ice wand. It's strong as the starting sword, but can be used to throw magic ice missiles, so might as well use it until they have found better weapons. Let's make a small detour and talk about the magic items. Besides the ice wand, it's possible to get a fire and electric wand, a ring of invisibility, another ring of magic resistance, a scroll that summons a friendly golem, an amulet that transforms the user into a werewolf, and there is also technically another amulet that is capable of making invisible certain chests and some enemies. But, it never spawned in my run. The mage opens a portal for the ground floor, but Grandpa does not want to use it because he's afraid of magic, and takes the stairs instead. Fuge is coming. How did I get past the pillars? Pure heart, my ass! Ugh. He probably ripped a couple of fresh ones from the chest of some unlucky souls. Because of this, Grandpa arrives late, allowing for Fuge to reach them. Grandpa fights back, but Fuge overwhelms him and finishes him off.
No!
It's no use to fight him. You can try, but he is too strong. It's better to just run and fight another day.
That's it. Run like the coward I know you to be.
For how simple this setup is, I think it does a decent job into being ludonarrative consistent. From a story perspective, it makes sense for David to be distraught for Grandpa's death. He is the one that took care of David after his father died when he was still a baby. And it's also discouraging for us, the player, for even if we knew David's grandpa for little, he is the one that taught us the basics of combat, and also protected us when things went south. His death means that now there are no safety nets. If David dies, he dies. Period. At least, until the companions are introduced. It's a small thing, true, but it's a small thing done right. RIP Grandpa, I cry every time. There is no time to mourn. David has to continue on. Sheesh, there are imps everywhere. Let's stop that. If you hoped for the mage to become a companion, I'm sorry. David is quite peeved about it too.
You left me to fight the imps alone. You just stood there.
Surely you're not suggesting I use my magic for any purpose other than self-defense?
Well, in between getting kicked and punched, yes, it did cross my mind.
It would be morally corrupt of me to use magic for anything other than safeguarding my own well-being.
Didn't you find it even slightly immoral to do nothing while I risked my life defending us?
No.
Time to get into the caves. And Tyrannus is obviously not coming. He is not fighting the demon.
Did I say demon? No, he's more like an incubus?
Oh, sorry, incubus.
What's an incubus?
Oh, it's demon.
What did you say?
Nothing, bye.
And here is the introduction to secondary objectives. If we go inside the boiler, we meet the scared janitor, which David helps. and is rewarded with a key to open an optional room with some beneficial potions. Exploring, David finds an alchemist. He seems to have used a bit of the material onto himself.
Bang, bang, bang! Oh, happy boom!
No more delays. Time to face the demon. This boss fight is very simplistic. Hide behind this rock and attack with the ice wand while he charges. Repeat until victory. And David levels up. It happens only after defeating bosses, but it only improves the stats. New equipment and abilities are unlocked while playing and exploring. Nice jingle though. You are late, mate.
Well, go on then. The telescope's up there. What are you waiting for?
Are you this pushy with everyone?
No, just you.
This is the last tutorial. In very specific situations you can interact with the background. Sometimes it's necessary to progress. Ugh, keep the seagulls away next time. David sees the ship with the women. It's heading to the city of Rain. Back to the camp and regrouping, the rebels shall attack Rain, the city in which it constantly rains. Okay, since they are outnumbered, they have to rely on guerrilla tactics and split up. David is coupled with Sekune, the first companion. There are several of those that can be recruited. Besides David, it's possible to bring 2 other people. Their main difference is how their stats are spread out. They also do the thing where they comment on the situation, giving their opinion or asking questions.
What possessed you to approach such a deranged man?
Watch your backs. Glass's mercenaries are deadly.
A frontal attack would be suicide.
Is there another way in?
The Fitness Gram Pacer test is a multi-stage aerobic capacity test that progressively gets more difficult as it continues.
And finally, Sekune, you take David with you. Good luck.
Don't worry, David. I'll protect you.
Don't sass me, lady. You are the archer of the group.
The garrison is coming. Please, we have to hide.
The rebels reach the other end, but there is no galleon, and no women. They can only retreat. Frink, the purple imp friend of the alchemist, tells the group to go to the Tower of the Oracle. Why? He does not care enough to know, literally.
For reasons outside my scope of interest, Dr. Bozuki was insisting that you should join him at the Temple of the Oracle as soon as possible.
Is there anything wrong?
Did I not just explain that? I don't know because I don't care!
Attend to the men. Ensure they are all rested and well fed. After you've taken your own fill, naturally.
Bro, don't encourage him. At this pace his head is gonna pop like balloons in a county's fair. Bozuki, the alchemist, wants the Duke and David to see the Oracle.
Where is...
Even with mystic prophets, one must take the ticket. And the magic light starts talking. Of course, it can only answer for questions. Never give all the information, huh? Silver is dangerous, we know. Anything else? He wants to summon Apocalypse. Big, chaotic god demon. If he succeeds, everyone dies. To stop him, the rebels must obtain 8 magical orbs. Maybe it is similar to Final Fantasy after all. I mean, the artworks have strong early 2000 OC anime protagonist energy to them. It's fitting. What is not fitting is David in the cover art. Why is he cross-eyed? An ancient civilization defeated Apocalypse using these orbs. If Silver secures one, it's all over. Last question. Where are the orbs? The light is restricted to only the first one. Otias, a mage in the city of Rain, has one. He loathes to speak to anyone. I mean, so would die if someone entered in my wizard cave. And as a last gift, the light gives David a horn that bypasses the magical barrier at the entrance of the tower. Neat. With the stage established, and the Duke that shall take care of the rebellion while David finds the orbs around the world, it's time to depart. Question. How is David gonna get the orb?
I'm charming. How could he refuse?
I don't think the wizard swings that way, and I know by a fact that you don't. The Duke gives David a map, useful for fast traveling and also see the game world. In addition, the Duke can suggest where to go. That is a lie. He never tells where to go.
I thought you could use the skill and expertise of a true warrior. So what are we waiting for? Let's go.
Sister, I'm going to replace you as soon as I get the chance. And now that all the breaks have been taken away, with no food restriction or freedom of choice, this is the real start of the game. Buzuki can make potions. They are better than food and can give temporary boosts, but they are also more expensive. It's a nice set. I never felt the need to use them, but they could help a struggling player.
Is it because you're worried? Because any potions that are prone to erratic impromptu eruptions have a clear warning on the label.
Please don't talk about impromptu eruptions. It's an issue with myself I've been trying to deal for ages. Ultimate cherry on top, this is the only fixed position of the Chronicler, making it the lone safe spot where the player can save always. Advice: explore constantly everywhere. You can find a hidden optional loot that can help you immensely. But let's not distract ourselves too much, and let's jump at the base of Daya's tower. Inside, there is an infinite imps spawning room. You can theoretically get infinite money in small gains, although it's not really worth it.
Where's my money, bitch?
My name is David. Excuse my intrusion, but...
Cast Fireball for home defense since that's what the Council of Mages intended. 4 rogues break into my tower. What hellspawn? As I grab my store spinner hut elemental stuff. Burn a fist-sized hole through the first man.
My intentions are virtuous. I give you my word.
How can I value the word of an intruder and potential thief?
Not a false statement. If this was any other game, I would already robbed you blind. After telling him the situation, he gives David the Fire Orb, which grants the ability of casting... what else?
It's wizard time, motherfucker! Fireball!
The dude also allows the group to take other stuff in a chest. Let's see. The key to the Frozen Realm, another sword, the Reaper technique, a USB stick with Arch Linux on it, and a potion. You know anything else about the orbs?
No, fuck off.
While exploring, the group sees some guards harassing and hurting an old lady. They help her, because, well, that's not very nice. Turns out she wanted to get her son released. He has been imprisoned for 30 years. He got in because he did the most heinous crime. A prank. He wanted to be a prank YouTuber. That's illegal. The group shall find Jimmy. To help them, she gives David his teddy bear. That's how they shall recognize him. But that's going to take a while. For now, it's time to proceed into the Frozen Realm and face ice dragons. Well, more like drakes. Got an axe. Let's talk about weapons. Besides the starting short sword, it's possible to get broadswords, axes, long swords, warhammers, bastard swords, and a pair of dual knightly swords. Apart from the last one, all weapons have pretty much the same pattern of attack. What makes them different is in which way they excel in dealing damage, as the attack the player makes is directly linked on how effective a weapon is. For example, swords are good all-rounders and deal extra damage with lunges, while axes deal more damage than swords with left or right swipes, but their damage is mediocre with any other attack. Maces and hammers are great with basic attacks, but fall short on any other. The dual swords are an endgame weapon, and frankly, quite overpowered, as they allow executing 2 attacks per move. They are really strong. There are also ranged weapons, but I never use them. I ride more on magic. But, in short, except for the slingshot, catapult, they rely on limited ammo, and it can be frustrating running out during a fight. Back to the game. The duo proceeds into the cave, where the next orb is. This is one of the few instances of someone running away from a losing battle. It does not happen a lot. Roasted rat? Yuck. Then again, this is a medieval fantasy world. For many, it may be their only source of proteins. So eat it. Eat the rat. And be well fed. Because it's boss time. And it's weak to fire. Obviously. To be fair, so am I. So, He spawns ice golems. They are fragile, and there is little magic orbs that replenish the mana. Once defeated, the group sees the magic freeze orb. I do like this scene and music. It has absolutely no meaning, but it's pleasing.
Come on, let's go! We still have 6 orbs left to find!
You must be David. Your reputation precedes you.
Thank you. But who are you?
Oh, I'm just a runner.
I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only.
Professor Velding has information. The next stop. Though there is nothing forbidding a bit of exploration first. Glasses Pallas, the daughter of Silver. She is a strong magician. It's not the time to fight her yet.
First, we'd better find another route. That door is obviously locked. Come on.
This line is a lie. There is no other route. You just break and enter.
Stop breaking the law, asshole!
Professor Whittle needs a question to ponder. Since the group doesn't have it, he shall think of one. Guy is going crazy without it. Anyway, Velding talks about the city of spires. The orb of healing is there, but the city sank long ago. The professor has a friend necromancer. He can help in reaching the city. Before that, I must go to David's house. I need to do one thing first. Damn goblin squatters. Go away. Now Tree Fork 2. Okay. This magical mushroom ring is weird. It full heals one character no matter the health, and it's limited to only 3 charges. And the music too is just needlessly whimsical? This is Ruben's house, a local painter. It's going to be important later on. Why the deviation? I'm getting somewhere I should have gone as soon as I could. Introducing, Vivienne is a friend of David who... Bloody mosquitoes! Who is very strong and similar to David in statistics.
You were right, David. I like her already.
I could have killed you!
No, just raised his voice another octave.
She has not been taken, but Silver's forces got Marianne, her sister, and so she joins the group to save her. I have a confession to do. Usually, when I make this kind of video, I play something that I'm not familiar with, but it's not the case here, because this is not my very first run. I played this game before, in 2015, and I knew where to find Rain's mayor. It's necessary to get a key from him to progress. I say this because otherwise, how was one supposed to find him? Nothing points me at the forest near David's house. He is suspicious about the group, and unleashes his guards. They run away after one of them falls. Okay. And the mayor leaves the key to progress. Other things worth noting are Nemesis armor.
Is it armor?
Yes. We feared it was a knight, but we found no trace of blood or scorched remains.
Yeah, I guess the Senilaka Comet pulverized him on impact. Some frail fire demons that foreshadow a boss fight, which is frail to ice. Also, I think it glitched as it did only this attack. And this path blocked by fire. It needs a magic pendant to be extinguished. I feel like some buckets of water will do the trick, but hey, maybe it's a magical fire. Time to head back to Rain and enter the not recommendable part of the city. There are pirates around, and they are not friendly. Reach the tavern, the next destination, and...
Strangers aren't welcome here. You won't get in without a fight.
And inside, an old man offers a fire wand. It seems like a scam, but it's actually useful. Talk around to get info and meet Jug. Suddenly, a fist brawl ensues, and Jug helps. Mind you, not because of goodwill.
No need for thanks. I enjoyed it.
After telling him about Silver, he immediately decides to join the group. Alright, that was easy. Sekune out, Jug in. Good thing is that companions go back to the camp. As such, one can always know where to pick them up. Big, beefy, strong, and a weak magic user. I found my tank.
Come to keep a tired old man company. I don't get the chance to chat as much as I'd like.
Smoke less then. The old man is willing to tell the group how to progress, but David must pay him first.
Lower Rain is filled with city scum, and they'd leave a sick old man die alone rather than open their gates to a stranger.
I paid 30 gold pieces to hear that?
Yes, if you don't keep quiet while I talk. I had not finished.
Sorry, go on.
I don't know if I have the strength.
Listen!
TLDR. Ring a bell. It's impossible to hide the payment, by the way. It will only activate if you pay. And last action, talk to a pirate. He has a cursed doubloon. Where did he get this?
From honest plunder.
Buy it for later use. Once outside, the group heads for the bell. Wait. Anyway, due to modern hardware, the timer of the bell is busted. It took a while. Just do it like if you wanted to ring 6 consecutive bell tools. A wounded guy? Oh, perfect. Now he is a werewolf even in physical form. The fight against him can be challenging, but if it gets unlocked in an angle, victory is easy. The thing is, there is a way to make it even easier. The old man is a vulture. He wanted to sell silver. No, not the character, the metal. And it could be used to kill the werewolf faster. Oops.
I'm sorry. Maybe we should have left him wounded and bleeding.
That would have been the more considerate option.
Anyway, a boatman can bring the group to the Deus. The price? 1 cursed doubloon. Why a cursed doubloon? Beats me. By the naming scheme of this game, it could have just been a faraway continent. Generally nice voice acting though.
Don't question me, and I'll take payment now. Then don't waste my time. The doubloon.
Whoa, hello there, big head.
I am Oz, the great and powerful.
Professor Velding told us that you have created an underwater carriage that will allow us to travel to the sunken cathedral at Spires. It houses one of the mystical orbs, and we have to retrieve all 8 to defeat Silver.
Then take it. It is yours.
What a nice guy to just gift it. That was easy.
This is Rainstock Lexus Spurs Force. We got you surrendered. We know you have this cool submersible vehicle. Come up with your hands up.
To Spires then. Intermission. Silver is briefing with his subjects. He is furious. He asks a question, receives the answer, and gets displeased for being answered. So it's that kind of villain. Silver has some tricks up his sleeve. He has an informant. There is a mole within Duke's ranks. Wait. No, I said mole! Mole! Enter Jug. He is looking for the orbs too, and so far he has been doing a terrible job at it. Silver has a submarine of his own. Jug will use it to reach Spires, get the orb, and ambush the group. In the meantime, Fuge shall go to Chains to stop the rebels and kidnap the Duke. And Glass has appointed Draco to protect her other orb. Edit. Draco the Dragon. Here we are at Spires. The merfolk people place. No, not that kind of merfolk. The second kind. After fighting their way into the halls of the Fish King, the group gets ambushed by Silver's soldiers. Where did they enter from anyway? Service entrance? Jug gloats about his supposed victory.
How does it feel to fail? You really are pathetic. Can you do nothing but stand open-mouthed as I claim victory?
Look behind you.
So you can run. Have you no dignity?
Trust me, you really should look behind you.
Please, your diversion is farcical.
Raygon boss fight time. Strategy. The flying lizard is weak under his belly. Putting heroes under the 3 positions where the dragon stops is the optimal choice. Keep casting until victory. The magical talisman. Remember the fire? Time for swamp area.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Exploring around, the group fights a Deathclaw. I'm not even joking, it's literally just a Deathclaw. Magic is useless. Raw strength is the only way. Be fast and avoid these attacks, until victory. Back on track, the group reaches a monastery. A monk tells them to stay away. The other monks have gone crazy. Their water sources have been poisoned, because they did not bow to Silver, so he punished them, and he is the only survivor because he was away at rain. He wants to join the group, but I keep it as is for now. Inside, they are technically screaming a war cry, but I'm pretty sure the crazy monks are calling David a twat. After fighting their way through an army of monks, the group finds another same one. The monk survived because he was meditating. It kept off the thirst. But he won't go away. He will stay here until the water is purified. There is no way to convince him. But if the group gives him one of life's greatest questions to ponder, it will help him to meditate better, and shall give something to David. For now, they are returning to the camp to check the monk's stats. The Duke is gone. Doesn't know that Silver is prepared to welcome him. Also, I replace Vivienne with the monk. He is an arm specialist, so no weapons, but is a good magic user. He shall suffice until the group finds an actual mage. Anyway, remember the prof? Yeah, he is the one with the question. Giving it to him, in return, the meditating monk gives David a magic potion. This edible ain't. David tripped so hard he went back to the past. It's the art museum from the intro, where Silver killed the artist Ruben. David takes the key to his house, where the group goes right away, and meet Chiaro, his apprentice. After telling him what happened, he joins the rebellion, and the herbal lighting was in his house. Chiaro is a mage. Now he's going to be a permanent member of the group. Since magic is going to be a major component from now on, let me explain it quick. Mana regenerates depending on the statistics. Ergo, some characters regenerate faster than others. To upgrade magic, you just have to use the spells. Any spell in fact. Instead of upgrading the individual orb, there is some software sharing leveling up. What does that mean? That even if you only use a certain spell, others will be leveled up regardless. For example, if you only use the acid spell, magic such as healing will still level up. It's quite weird. Spells can also be cast on friendly characters, with different effects depending on the spell. To cast lower level spells, you use the F1, F2 and F3 keys, with the F being the most powerful. With that out of the way, it's time to get into Glass's palace, and face off the elite Vikings. On second thought, Chiaro is cool, but his mana generation is too slow as of now. I shall stick with the monk. He is more balanced and can still fight even when his mana runs out. There is no need to worry about potential wasted experience. When a boss is defeated, all characters level up, not just the singular party. Ergo, I can swap characters whenever needed or wanted. This is an actual cool feature. I wish other games did this, especially JRPGs. I'm a weeb, I know. We reach at Glass's throne room, the dragon faces the companions, and David has to fight alone. It's better to attack only when he's charging. It will take extra damage and it saves on mana. This is where I got my first real death, and heard the harrowing sound of the bells. In the end, they got the barracks key and the earth orb. Back at the camp, the Duke and soldiers got captured. As expected, they must be saved. The brother of this soldier is dead. This shall become important later on. Fat Bob tells the group to go to the tavern in Rain. The barman there is an informant of the rebellion.
And hurry up, I'm so worried I can't eat.
Once they reached the barman and told him the password, he brings the group into the wine cellar. He suggests sneaking into the prison, but the passage in Lower Rain is flooded. It can be drained, but the automatic mechanism is busted. As such, the group must open the sluice gates manually. One of the rebels that participated in the attack, William, is safe and sound. Apparently, he managed to escape before capture, but he won't come to fight though. He will go to the camp to manage the survivors. And of course, what fantasy game would be without Ratmen and sewers? An environmental puzzle. Ring a bell. That's it. Just ring the bell. Past several legions of Ratfolk, once opening the sluice gates, it's time to face the Rat King. And another cutscene. Silver is disappointed. Glass did not tell of the problems at the palace, and she lies about the break-in, including the one on her secret chambers, and so he punishes her. He really doesn't give a damn if she lives or dies. Anyway, the Rat King. He is immune to magic. Just bash him to death. Turns out, his lair is nearby the place where the group fought the werewolf, and the place around Thaddeus Tower has been drained. But it's still possible to use the bathysphere if wanted to, so that's nice. Anyway, this section leads to the prison of chains. Enough delaying, the Duke must be saved. Mimic! Oh, he dies with one hit. At the top of the prison, there is this little fella. It seems docile.
You should leave before you get hurt.
Nasty
Why, you
bugger.
little...
Time for an ass whooping, and get the invisible ring. It makes enemies not attack the wearer when equipped, but it can be used for other functionalities, if you catch my drift.
Sir, the security system said there's someone in the factory.
Impossible. There is nothing on the video feed.
This section leans more heavily on the peculiar side of things. First we have lizard folk. Then something releasing food. Okay, why? Then we meet a prisoner who is a guinea pig for testing new forms of torture. Poor guy. At least there is a positive side.
The food is like the beatings. Regular. And they do let me out to stretch my legs. Granted, the rack may be a little painful, but my posture has never been better.
He is willing to help, and gives the group a key. Couldn't have you just waited for them to get there at least? See? That's what I wanted to avoid.
And take care of my key. I've had to hide it in a very private place for many years.
We will.
Yeah, let's start by taking care of that key with some good old scrubbing.
No need for thanks. The pleasure was all mine.
You had pleasure sticking it in your secret place? Let's not overthink it. The group has reached the Duke. Jump on the Warden. Got it. Stand fast. And don't go anywhere.
This sucks.
Why is there a modern toilet here? And why is it a puzzle? And why are they being attacked by bats? Seriously, they die in one hit, and they deal 1 damage. They are needlessly annoying. Here he is, Fuge. This is the moment for David to avenge his grandpa, and dead. Although the acting is, well, not the most emotional.
No! He was trying to protect me. He died protecting me.
He may be tough, but now David has the strength to face him. The only necessary maneuver is to take cover when he does his lightning attack. Done that, bash him until he dies. By this point, the game is completely serious. It's a bit sad. The writing up until this point was funny, though it does make sense. The story is slowly reaching its climax. Found the Warden, got key, and there is also an imprisoned guy. He is the child of the old lady.
Used to have a teddy bear just like this.
Yes, exactly like it. It is yours.
Mine? My mother did send you. Mummy! Mummy!
Wait, you don't even know... Great, he's gone. Once the Duke is free, the rebels shall head to the camp.
Do you think we have a traitor?
Finally, he has also figured out that he has been betrayed.
Not necessarily. Glass, Silva's daughter, is a sorceress. She has a seeing ball. It's likely that she's observed our plans and reported back to her father.
Never mind. William talked with Fuge, which is a clear contradiction of what he said before, but nobody points it out. Otherwise, there will be one less objective for more slaying.
Come on, Glass will be expecting us, and I don't want to disappoint her.
Turns out she could see every move of the group, but allowed them to continue undisturbed. Why? It's because she hates her father for killing her mother. The group must go to that gate. The tormented souls stay there in a limbo until arranged. There, they can find the souls of the betrayed soldiers and ask them who the mole is. Because, going to a desolate limbo is just as easy as taking the bus. The Duke believes her because he always listens to his chicks.
Shake it, baby.
While he masters reinforcements, David shall discover the name. And who's gonna bring them there? The pirate from which David brought the cursed doubloon. Talk about a Chekhov's gun. Dude wants to be paid extra, because of course he would. But he's the only one willing to go. Okay, I guess. I could have given all of it for all I care. I literally never used gold for anything in this game. Lots of dead, depressing atmosphere. Yep, this is the place between here and the beyond, alright. This section is combat heavy. The endgame must be approaching. And the group finds John, one of the dead rebels, brother of the man cited earlier. He reveals the traitor.
And I promise you, we won't rest until your death has been avenged.
I know, but unfortunately, neither will I.
The group also saves another ghost, Professor O'Leary from GNOME. He's offended because the group is alive and he isn't.
Then where's your morality? You're strutting around an Acropolis, flaunting your body of dead people.
Well, I'm sorry. This is a friendly and welcoming channel. I mean not to offend. I don't want to flaunt my living body in front of anyone dead. In fact, let me just... He can help in defeating Silver. There is an orb in a dig at the lost city of Outer Haven. Not to be confused with Outer Heaven, the city-state founded by Big Boss in Metal Gear, or the 2012 form metal band Outer Heaven, or Outer Haven, the submarine stream from the Patriots by Liquid Ocelot, or with Outer Heaven. Nightclub, I did not know it existed before making this video. No sorry, this is a completely different outside portion of Heaven, or Heaven. The dude died because of a plague that struck the local population, and transformed them into monsters that attacked anyone in sight. It was hidden by an illusion, but the prof has a scroll that will neutralize it. No need to worry about getting infected. The plague is extinct, but monsters still roam around. I know it's supposed to be a deranged laugh, but it was not deranged enough. It just sounded like someone was stinging his neck. Anyway, the group tells the Duke about the traitor, then go to the plagued city. During these last bits of the game, there is nothing but fights, fights, fights and fights. No more jokes or funny quips. It's quite saddening really. And the orb at the camp is nothing really exceptional. It manipulates time, slowing down the enemies and speeding up the heroes. I guess it's fine for when exploring. The boss fight here is quite annoying. It's necessary to chase him around until it just stops.
Why are you running?
Once defeated it, and wasted 30 minutes to look around because of the key he dropped necessary to progress, got hidden by the pre-rendered background art, the boom key is recovered. The group fights some invisible enemies that can be attacked without the amulet, and the group can't run away. Thankfully, the nuke ability is enough. Another beholder appears. Probably the game glitched, but it's the only instance in which the group could run from a fight. And the next group of beholders are visible. Then, why were they not before? As a matter of fact, no other enemy anywhere is invisible. Why they're in all places? Anyway, gotta fight the Queen of the Underworld to get the last orb. Once dead and seized it, the last battle awaits. Silver is at Metalon. This is it. The no turning back moment. It's time to take the fight to Silver. Glass is willing to help. She can teleport only 3 men inside the Metalon. David and 2 others. Let's go. Nothing but constant fighting from now on. Even the few puzzles here are just glorified levers to activate teleporters. Glad I don't have to fight that. Yep, gone. Here it is. Don't use Latin magic. It heals him. Nice detail for something so minor that appears only at the very end. Keep distracting it. I'm figuring out which magic is stronger. My face is my shield. There. Nothing. Enough with magic then.
Time to show what happens
when I get truly hungry.
Okay, just corner it then. Until death. Silver's Palace. Let's end this. All is going fine and dandy until the game crashed. Honestly, consider this is a game from 1999 and got some minor touch-up in 2017, having only one crash so far, it's actually a good thing. Back from where we left off. So, here was the monkey I needed. What is there? Lots of potions and a key. I guess I found Silver's minibar. And this key opens this door nearby. Okay. There is a man inside. Apparently he is the favorite turtle slave of Fuge. He says that it's necessary to find the origin of Silver's power. Otherwise, he is unbeatable. And here is the twist. Silver doesn't want to marry any woman. He wants to use them as a sacrifice for Apocalypse. Here we are. William is here. And he's not going to get his wife back. Never trust evil wizards, mate. Let's end this. Silver cannot be damaged. The source of his power must be destroyed. Do you see it? It's the sphere above. The same sphere that has been subtly shown in every cutscene above Silver's throne. As for the iron golems evoked, they are just mana sacks. Kill them with melee weapons. To destroy the sphere, you must use the element that it's emitting. That's what the orbs were for. One for all the orbs. Yes, even the healing one. Ending with the Orb of Light. This would be the time to finish Silver, but like all corny fantasy stories, David does the typical move of, no, now he's weak and old, it poses no risk anymore. Then Nemesis shows up, and he's like, appreciate the thought, but the dude was not influenced by any external force, he was just an asshole. So he kills him, and the women in the palace are getting rescued. All seems over.
How do you know all this? Who are you?
I am Silver's nemesis. I've been with you from the beginning.
And you made David do all the work because?
Silver believed I was dead. This knowledge made him feel invulnerable, and he became complacent.
Okay, that makes sense. But another twist. It's not over. Apocalypse wants compensation for Silver's death. The only chance to win is by marrying? Okay, how? By bashing each other's heads on. That's how. Imagine it didn't work and they just ends up with a concussion on the ground. One last love you, and another no return save. And now the real ending boss fight. And it's super lame. Can't use magic. Can't switch weapons. Can't use items or potions. Can't eat food. I mean, it's fun at least. The boss has probably the most complex moveset of this game. But I could not help but wonder. Man, before the attack on the bison, the game was generally charming. It didn't take itself too seriously. It made jokes. It tried to give personality to the characters. And while it may not always hit the mark, it did its best to deliver an experience reminiscent of old-time fables, which is an atmosphere not so used nowadays. It had some design decisions that I consider genuinely good and smart, and the combat was quite fun, at least when it was against a reasonable amount of enemies. I ask myself, would a game like this reach some degree of success in this day and age? Corny, tongue-in-cheek double linear fantasy / fable RPGs aren't exactly something common nowadays. It could fill a niche. But let's not dwell too much on that, and let's end this final boss fight that took me more than 10 minutes in real time to finish. The ending cutscene is rather cool at least. I wonder how hard it was to mix the moving characters with the ever-changing background. When did David learn to backflip? Why the pose? Did they want him to shart himself a bit? Everyone is alive, safe, and well.
David, thank you.
The glory belongs to everyone.
And as the galleon full of women sails away, there is nothing to say but farewell, and thank you for watching.